John, it seems like social engineers are dedicated to catching and killing the story. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, night before last, we took last night off. I mean, we've been going pretty hard to the hoop for the last 2.5 weeks. We've been going almost every night. And I don't know, how many nights have we not done a show? 2 nights or 3 nights in the last 2.5 weeks.
John, it seems like social engineers, you got your browser up, catching and killing the story.
There we go. Sorry about that. So we've been going pretty hard to the hoop. Last night, I was starting to lose my voice. I was getting kind of exhausted and run down because I've been going pretty hard. So we took the night off. The night before last night, we did a show about the limited hangout. And what is this limited hangout? And what are the tactics and techniques of the limited hangout? And one of the key tactics and techniques of the limited hangout is avoiding key evidence. But tonight's show, we're going to focus on something called the catch and kill. Now, I didn't know what a catch and kill was until Jason taught me what the catch and kill was and taught our audience before all this what this was. And we experienced this before. So we've kind of seen the catch and kill movie a couple times. Now, Jason saw the catch and kill movie, meaning this playbook, a number of times before it was levied on me. And so Jason's going to explain a couple of scenarios and examples of the catch and kill that were done to him. We'll tell you a couple examples with me. And in my case, the catch and kill character is better looking and has larger breasts, but we'll get to that later. So that was one of the catch and kill stories with Vegas. So we have porn stars or porn actresses or whatever in a catch and kill thing. So we'll talk about some of that, but this is kind of one of the key tactics. And as you guys see them ratcheting this up, I want you to kind of scratch your heads and ask yourselves, why? Why is this happening now? What's going on here? Are these guys getting closer and closer to the truth on a daily basis? And therefore, these guys are feeling cornered. So to me, this is like one of the key components of the limited hangout is the catch and kill. And this is stuff that Jason's been, dealing with since the very, very beginning here, where they were trying to use this technique against him, and he's able to codify it. So I thought this would be really interesting for us to talk about. What do you think of that? Cool?
Catch and kill and limited hangout are two different things.
Oh, I thought it was part of the limited hangout. I thought the catch and kill was part of the limited hangout strategy. No, but you're right. Yeah, it's probably separate
tradecraft
things.
Tactics.
Okay. All right. Why don't you give everybody the overview of the catch and kill? Like, what is this? People are like, why is there a tiger? Is there, it's not related really to a tiger. What is the catch and kill? And what are some examples that people might, say, oh, wow, okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, the tiger is just there for an interesting image, catching and killing things, reminiscent of hunting and prey and, trying to come up with interesting thumbnails to describe the things that have been going on. It was really yesterday that they really started ramping up. I mean, basically what is happening, John, is you and I have very different approaches to examining this case. You are looking at photo and video and audio evidence to calculate bullet trajectories to try to determine where shots were coming from, because it is an extremely important part of the investigation, and we did have some good evidence to look at initially as far as where bullets were flying and things like that. Obviously, I have extremely limited experience with guns, so I don't look at it from that standpoint, but I've been studying the JFK assassination for many, many years, 9/11, all these other operations, so I have a good sense of how these type of operations are arranged. And I think that when we proceed with any one particular tunnel vision approach, we run a risk. We are reverse engineering. This goes to David Hawkins' theories, where, we don't know what happened. Nothing that we know right now is definitive. Everyone involved in this is forming a hypothesis based on the available evidence. And when somebody starts to get close to the truth, people who don't want people to know the truth want to catch that true story and kill it. So, the other guys that seem to be prominently known in this area of doing acoustic analysis to locate gunshots. Well, Mike Adams, and this person who I really didn't know until just a couple weeks ago. I mean, in retrospect, you mentioned him, but I wasn't following this guy. We're talking about Chris Martenson. And the thing that was interesting is, see, people think I'm in some kind of personal beef with this kid, Dave Stewart. It's true, I think he's an unethical guy who's making bad choices. But the reason I've been going so hard on him is that I think his evidence is unreliable in the state that it's in. It's interesting, and it's evidence that he recorded a video there, but it is so decimated by the processes that he's done to it, and it is clearly recorded on a low-quality phone, that it makes me want to make sure that what he's got there is valid and that there are not any kind of artifacts or mistakes or errors that have been introduced there, because we start to have a lot of people, Chris, Mike Adams, whoever, going down a path developing theories about this, and I see it going viral. And it's very interesting to me to see an unknown person with a video that may have elements in it that are unique and helpful, but also it's not the Zapruder film that Chris was saying that it was. The Zapruder film is the one and only motion picture film that the public has ever seen of the shooting of John F. Kennedy. This Unsteady Dave is one of probably thousands of videos, and you see what he's already done. He's injecting inaccurate language where he's talking about a film, but we are examining a video. And we need to understand every aspect of what we're looking at, because the forensic examination of the Zapruder film is going to go down to what is the film emulsion, what stock was it shot on, what camera did it run through, did anything scratch it. I want to understand everything about this video, if it's as important as he thinks it is. And if you or anyone is going to go on a tear investigating it, I want to understand what it is. So we initially got these weird vibes from this kid because he was incommunicado. Then he says, oh, it's his birthday.
With both of us. So you tried to approach him. I tried to approach him separately. We each were DMing him on Twitter, and he blew both of us off. All right. So that's a twofer right there. Right. So yes. He might not like you, might not like me. Right. You're much more reasonable than I am. Most people don't like me.
Not always.
Right. Well, usually I'm a nasty guy. So the idea here is that he did not connect with either of us. And I was in communication with one of his buddies who said, I'm going to be at his birthday party. So I had like an inside track to this guy, and he completely avoided us. And right. We both kind of said that this is kind of odd. Now you're looking at it with a much more technical, critical eye. You look at the video componentry with the most technical, critical eye, right? And that's important. And I'm going to share something with you that I think is going to blow your mind right now, and I think the audience is going to flip out.
Before we flip out, though, I just want to finish this, because it's not just the video and the technical stuff. I mean, again, this goes to my exposure to these constant social engineering campaigns for the past 7 years. You know, if you never went to an NRA class, like if I went and worked at a gun range for 7 years, do you think it's fair to assume that I would know a little something more about shooting than I do right now? Or if I went to war, I would, even if I was totally green when I got there, I'd learn something. I've been subjected to this stuff for 7 years. So just like I know guys who can walk into the woods and, you know, smell piss on a leaf and tell you there's a deer over there, I'm kind of getting to that. So it wasn't just the poor quality of his footage. It wasn't just the way that he was acting. It was that I was noticing him doing strange other things online that caused me to suspect that he might be a social engineer, including defending the behavior of Eric, what's his name? DeFelice, where somebody said it's weird that this guy is reacting so quickly to the gunfire, which we agreed. Why is he the first guy to react to the gunfire, particularly since he has told me that he had 3 or 4 tequila shots that day? You think that his response time would be delayed. And I just found it weird that Unsteady Dave would be defending Eric DeFelice. I mean, okay, maybe they live in the same town. Are they friends? And if they are, that's kind of weird too. How do 2 friends become so prominent in the social media surrounding this story?
I'm really suspicious of that Secret Service agent that's with the Eric D. Fouet's character, the Dirty
Yes.
Sanchez officer.
Oh,
I'm looking at that Dirty Sanchez officer, and I think that the costume is the same as the character that we've got our eye on inside the building. And I'm wondering, are the two of these guys working together? And is that even a guy? Is that a woman with a fake mustache and her hair is up, and her act is she pulls off the hat, peels off the thing, it's a chick.
well,
I'm looking at your Dirty Sanchez, dude, and there's something wrong with that. That's not a normal, or there's something wrong with that person.
I
So
agree
I got to
completely.
share this with you. I got to
Sure.
share this with you. Once you got me looking at this damn thing with the critical eye, somebody points out there's a little tiny white, looks like a Post-it note in the videos. That's number one. Okay. I'm sure you've got that. Then I start looking at other stuff with a critical eye. And what you're going to see is going to stun you, and you're going to fall out of your chair.
Well, let's look at that on the sponsor exclusive segment because we got still a lot
Well, let me
to
tell
talk
you.
about.
Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you what it
Okay.
is. Let me at least tell you what it is. The TMZ video. How early did that come out?
Right
The
away.
TMZ footage. Weren't all those phones in that area confiscated by the guys, right?
I don't know. We should find that out.
So here's the deal. Here's what I figured out from the TMZ footage. You're right. That footage, they shifted
Yeah.
the audio. The audio is shifted. So you see the kid moving, and they've created the illusion that the gunfire begins a moment after the camera pans away from him. No, they shifted the audio and gave it to TMZ.
See, this is exactly
were right.
what
You were
I'm
right.
saying
You-
is that
you're
if
right.
we
You nailed
want
it.
to crap around making YouTube videos, we could make The Lord of the Rings and say it's a documentary about New Zealand. But if we can't authenticate the source, and moreover, if the source starts acting cagey and weird, I don't want anything to do with it. The other thing about this scumbag piece of shit, Dave Stewart, if you hear this, somebody died. And if you have any evidence that could assist in the investigation that you are withholding because you want to make a documentary, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm not telling him to give it to me or to you or whoever. The other person who really should be ashamed of himself because he should know better. The truth is Dave Stewart is a stupid 20-year-old idiot, and he's actually just the back end of 19. Chris Martenson is a PhD. He looks like he's 60. This kid was on the phone with him for an hour. He should have said, you know what? This is an interesting video. I want to help you get it on to Tucker Carlson or whatever the hell you want to do with your Netflix documentary and get paid. But you got to send the original unmolested file to Chuck Grassley. You got to give it to me or Mike Adams, not me, to Martinson or Mike Adams. I'm not saying give it to me. I'm not trying to make an exclusive deal with the kid. And in fact, I won't even accept an apology from this scumbag. I don't ever want to speak to him again. But he needs to release this video. He needs to send it to Corey Comparatore's family. And the biggest issue is, if you believe that one guy crawled up to the roof of a building that at least 6, 8, 12 cops, SWAT teams, people dressed as Secret Service were inside there. If you believe that one kid went up there and did that, I don't even think you're watching this show. But if you believe that something else happened, that means that the people that coordinated that something else are only more dedicated now to killing Donald Trump, and withholding that evidence puts the president at risk, the former president. And if Donald Trump were murdered on that day or at any time, this country would be plunged into darkness. And that little bitch, Dave Stewart, is trying to make money. Guess what? Even releasing the video will not stop him from being the participant in or a subject of a documentary. I hate that kid. He's an evil, selfish, unethical little bitch.
Well, to your point, I believe, based on the evidence that we've seen, my hypothesis is that there are assassins that are still out there that may not be, they may not, no one is pursuing them that I'm aware of. Right. So if Chris Wray is just going along with this and everybody's going along, right? Remember Victoria Nuland 2 days before said, I don't think Trump is going to be the president. 2 days before, 48 hours earlier, she said, I don't think Trump is going to be the president. So I don't know if they're actually investigating and pretending they're not. Remember when they had that murder out in Oregon and that weird looking kid killed all the kids in the frat house?
At a party or something, right?
And they told everybody, gee willikers, we don't know what happened. And we have an 800 number and please call in, but we don't have any leads whatsoever. Meanwhile, they were satellite tracking the kid back to like Maryland. You know, he drove across the country. It was all horse nonsense, right? So they made up a story for the public. I don't know if they know who's really behind this. And to your point, if the people who are investigating it are the people who hired them, there's not going to be any, they're not going to look, right? They know who he is. They're not going to look. They put him there.
Right.
Dude, this is as dark as it gets.
Exactly. So this kid is suspected of being part of it if he doesn't want to bring the evidence to the fore. And we know he's interacted with the FBI. We know they took the phone. So we don't know what he's done. Now, to your Dirty Sanchez point, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to see all the stuff that I've done on this agent Sketchy. But in addition to just looking sketchy, first of all, a lot of people have noticed that his hand appears to be like a way different color than his arm. And that's not just this video frame or compression or something like that. He walks around and his hand is a way different color. I don't know. Maybe it's a medical condition people don't like to watch. What I noticed is this guy's got an iPhone poking out of his fanny pack with the lenses popping up in exactly the same way that I contemplate. Boy, I'd really like to record this conversation in the police precinct, but I'm not allowed to. Let me pose in my bathroom with a different pocket shirt and try it here and try it there. Nah, it's too obvious. I don't think he's got this phone in his pouch here for no reason. And did you have a chance to see this video that I put together late last night about this guy?
No, I didn't.
It's 99 seconds. I think we should look at it because
please. Yes.
It goes to a lot of what you are interested about this.
So for people who aren't familiar with who we're talking about, this is a character that we see on body cam, right? You tell me if I get any of this wrong. This is a character we see on the body cam. As the officers arrive at the scene of the building, they come into the first floor entrance, and this guy comes down the hallway. And he seems to have like his thumb tucked in his vest as he's walking down the hallway. And I think this may be a participant in the crime. That's my hypothesis. I could be wrong. Could be perfectly innocent.
Strengthened right now.
All right. Well, he's
by the way, this is speculation. This is speculation based on information and belief, evidence in the public domain. Let's give a listen to. Oh wait, do we have sound on?
Yeah, he's a suspect. Right now, he's a suspect. We'd like to interrogate him.
Yeah, well, I mean, so there's a lot of details about this guy. So yeah, okay, here we go. Sound. How's it playing? We have no sound. There it is. 50. Where's the goddamn sound here? That's crazy. It's this. Okay, sorry. Man, they don't want me to. This is American Glass Research, the building where we're told Thomas Crooks, the lone nut assassin, perched atop to take shots at Donald Trump. This is interesting. Here's Unit 9 of Building 6. Inside this building is an ad hoc task force of local law enforcement, SWAT teams, and special operators. Notice the door is locked from the inside. Documents released by Congress only account for Butler County PD and Beaver County ESU snipers in the building. We see one individual in a Secret Service uniform, seen here, approaching from the rear hall.
So the ladders are in route. So the operator suffered lacerations in the hand from climbing up on them. So like they might need minor stitching. Okay.
What was he doing there 18 minutes after the shooting, and how long had he been there? They seem to be coming from right back here, somewhere in the rear of the building. Maybe one of these two windows. That's exactly where they tell us Crooks was perched, shooting at Trump. That's a sniper position released by Chuck Grassley. These are inside the building. Okay? So, what do you think of that?
I think he's as sketchy as can be. Can you roll it back a bit? Let's scrub back a second. Do we have another minute or two with our YouTube audience before we go? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's scrub back just a smidge. Let's go back to our sketchy guys, and I want you to go to the moment when the guy opens the door. All right. Let's go back to the guy opening the door, and let's take stock of it.
Nickel
so
is the.
That's not Greg. That's not Greg Nichols. That's
I
not
think
Greg
it
Nichols.
is. No, it's Greg Nickel.
No.
He is Butler County. Beaver County?
No, I have the Greg Nichols photo. I have a photo of him with his thing.
It looks just
Nichols.
like him.
No, this kid's younger. I'm pretty certain it's younger. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. All right, let's go to the point where he opens the door. Somebody has to open it from the inside? Yes.
It's locked. It's locked from the outside. It's locked from the inside. It's got to be open from the inside. Now, this is important, too, because the guy lied to Senate yesterday. The acting director of the Secret Service said that they had a sniper positioned in the second floor window, but this is the plan. This is Chuck Grassley's document given to him by the local law enforcement. So Butler County PD had a sniper. That, I think, is Nickel, isn't it? Or no? And then we have a BCESU. That's Beaver County Emergency Services Unit sniper. There's no accounting for Secret Service in this building. And in fact, the Secret Service said they didn't communicate with local law enforcement until after the shooting. So the people that we see walking in the door are essentially the first responders to, hey, there's something in the building. We're all in here. Come over. How did that Secret Service guy get there in 18 minutes? It's suggestive that he was already there while the shooting was happening. The other thing the Secret Service acting director lied about is that he said they had no intercommunication between the Secret Service and the cops. That would be the one reason for that guy to stand in the building, to have a Secret Service radio in his one hand, which we actually do see him communicating on. See that radio right above the Secret Service badge there? His Secret Service little patch? He's talking into that radio later. He goes on his phone and he's like texting with one hand and talking into that radio on the other. So if they've got a Secret Service guy in there on the Secret Service radio, that would make sense to intercommunicate. That's a quick way to have there's somebody from the electric department on the camera truck and we can now talk. But this guy's not telling anybody anything, and he's the most nervous, wanting to get the hell out of there guy in the whole place.
All right, 1 second. Let's go to the guy who is the first guy when they open the door. He's in the helmet, in black. It says police on his chest, right? He says police, right? Check that guy right by the front door. What does he say?
What's Butler County PD sniper. Yeah, he's expected to be there.
That guy.
He's Butler County PD. That guy.
That guy. Yeah, at
Butler
the front
County
door.
PD. Oh, the guy at the front door is Beaver ESU SWAT.
Okay. So Beaver ESU SWAT is accounted for. He's in the sign-in sheet. So that's okay. All right. So he's in the building. He's got his tactical helmet on. He looks like he's ready for work. He's got a police. It doesn't say Secret Service. It says police. And he's with Beaver Butler County ESU SWAT team. So he's kind of
ESU, I'm pretty sure.
All right. Now, as we go forward, we're going to see creepy guy with another guy. They're side by side. There's two guys walking down the hall. Let's take a look at the two guys.
That's Butler County PD. He's Butler County PD. He's also expected to be there. Butler County has a sniper. Beaver County has a sniper.
Let's focus on the guy.
Force.
Who's that guy? Yeah, that guy. Who's that guy?
PD. Butler County PD sniper.
All right, now, right in this moment, somebody mentions cut his hand. One of the operators cut his hand. They say that right as they came in.
The door says that. But it's not one of these people that we see. It's not one of those.
Well, we don't think. Let's see. Let's hear what he says.
In the building. We see one individual in a Secret Service uniform, seen here, approaching from the rear hall.
So the ladders are in route. So the operator suffered lacerations to their hand from climbing up. So you might need minor stitching.
Operator suffered lacerations to their hand.
might need minor stitching. So it's not him, because he'd say, here he is. If he was talking about the cut hand and the guy would be like, here's my hand bleeding and everything. So it's just very curious that that guy's there. The other thing is he's got an iPhone that we can tell is at least an iPhone 11. That's when they introduced the 3 lenses, and that's when they introduced HDR photography on the iPhone. So they're definitely coming from back here, and you can tell, not so easily on this picture, but on this picture you can tell it's HDR because we've got detail down here in the shadow area, and we have detail in the highlights right here. And you can't tell in this photo when it's in the video because it's been recompressed again. But this photo as presented by Chuck Grassley is very high resolution. We can discern a screen in the window, and the compression is extremely efficient. This looks like a photo you'd get out of somebody's phone. All this other video and imagery we've been seeing, it's like 1978 and we're hunting from Bigfoot. Where the hell are these people? Has anybody in Butler County bought a cell phone since 2009? Right. By the way, all the people who think, oh, Jason's being a dick to this 20-year-old kid, whatever, I'll be a dick. Ask him, what kind of cell phone did he record that on? Because it looks older than him. Where did he get a cell phone with a rolling shutter so wiggly? Why is he like the epilepsy camera operator? It's the wiggliest video. It's like he's using his mom's vibrator as a tripod.
Yeah, and again, I'm kind of accustomed to going through lousy footage. I mean, you remember the Vegas shooting? I had a lot of eyewitness footage. It was similarly all over the place. So I'm kind of used. Again, it's like this is why it's kind of good to have autism. It's like I'm kind of used to eating rat and rice. You know, it's like I'm accustomed to this. I'm just.
But you've already made the point earlier because with this TMZ video, what I was saying is, look, the video could be just like the ear, right? Everything about that photo seems great, but the ear throws you off. So that video could be 99.98% fantastic with one thing in there that throws your investigation into the ditch.
Show everybody the Post-it note. Show everybody the Post-it note. You had the Post-it note next to the water tower a minute ago.
Right.
Did you show that to everybody? Yeah. What the hell is this? What is that?
Well, I'll tell you what I think that is. It could be, depending on what encoded this. See, we've got this large white area right here. This looks like an MPEG GOP to me that is experiencing some sort of error due to this large area of white. And then, I don't know, it could be that somebody put that there, but I don't think so. My first thought would be that this is either somebody with an extremely crappy phone and an extremely crappy MPEG encoder who took this off the phone and added some TikTok text to it in a way that someone who is not a professional handling low quality elements gets unexpected results. And the thing is...
How many frames? How many frames was that in? Was that just one frame or multiple frames?
I don't know. This is just a still somebody sent me. That's what I mean. This is worth evaluating further. But again, spending hours looking at a stepped-on piece of shit when we know the guy who shot it is still alive is pointless. I want to see the original video of this before I start figuring out what he did to make it not work.
If I see that white thing move, though, if that turns out that's in 3-4 frames and it goes...
No, it could still be an MPEG group of pictures error because this guy looks like he's using a phone from 2009. Depending on sometimes you'll see, maybe if you're watching satellite TV, have you ever seen something where it fritzes out and becomes incredibly green? And then it's like, why is it green?
The lower edge of the water tank. Yeah, the lower edge of the water tank, the lower edge of the curve. It looks all pixelated. It's totally pixelated. The lower edge, the darker in the shadows.
The whole thing is pixelated.
That doesn't look normal. That looks like...
the whole thing is pixelated. I mean, the point of the matter is, if you told me that this is a video from 1980 from VHS that you digitized on your Commodore Amiga and this is the only version that we have, okay, but this should be at least 1920, 1080. When the hell is the last time anybody sold a cell phone that wasn't recording in HD? I would think half the people there would have 4K photos, images. And then the other anomaly is our buddy, Eric DeFelice and his wife or girlfriend or whoever it is, her video, Mia Cops, that becomes an outlier because it's the only one that's been uploaded at 4K. Why is she the only one? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like, whether it's intentional or not, if something is decimated and low quality and difficult to look at and understand what you're seeing, you're going to have far less retention than something that is super duper clear that goes up to, oh wait, we want resolution. Look, she goes up to 1440p HD. That is super duper. Look at how sharp that looks. You can zoom in on people's heads. You know, there's still going to be compression and artifacts and stuff, but it's sharp as can be.
Yeah.
What Unsteady Dave is giving us is basically...
What is it? 480p? It's 480p?
It's difficult to categorize like that because, you know, he's putting it out at 1280 720, which is this resolution, which is still pretty good.
Yeah,
but
he didn't capture it. Yeah. He didn't capture it.
We don't know what resolution he captured it at. And resolution is only one factor in the image quality. This thing has very minimal compression because the first thing it recorded was very high quality with a lot of light, very low noise, and it's on a pretty new phone that's using efficient, you know, H.264 or H.265 compression. And so even at lower resolution, this video looks good. Dave is using a highly compressed. So even if he's giving you, he could put it out at 4K. You could take what he's got right now and just up-res it to 4K. It'll still look like crap. You got to go to the original, unmolested, least compressed file and see what's there.
And he has important evidence, and it's being obscured because of the compression. There's
and
details.
The audio. I detect audio processing.
Okay, I mean, it's certainly possible. But so what's starting to happen now is, again, with that TMZ video, the TMZ video now, to me, is the most obvious example to the common man or woman of what you're describing, which is a video that's been manipulated by the guys who collected all the phones. They must have some sort of ability to do this at these events because they run around. Did you see in his follow-up video, one of the things that we do capture from him, like the horse, is...
They take his driver's license.
From everybody. They've taken everybody's IDs so that nobody will leave. Then they come back and collect the phones later. And if they've got this ability to monkey with the phones... So this takes us to this TMZ video. Now the TMZ video, not the most recent one with him running across, the original TMZ video that shows the guy on the roof kind of on his knees, kind of crawling, and then we see him with the rifle. This came out like 2 days. The original, yeah. This one. Okay. I want you guys to notice the magic trick. I'm going to show you how they pull off the magic trick here. And Jason would be able to break this down and confirm it. I suspected it based on what you told us 2 nights ago about, you know, how they monkey with this stuff. Guess what they did here? They time shift the audio. Right. It makes it appear that the gunshots just happened. No, the gunshots don't happen for like 35, 45 more seconds. By shift, and there's nobody talking. You don't see anyone moving their lips. You can't synchronize the audio with the actions. You hear the woman screaming, Ross, 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 get down, Ross. But that's not at this moment. That's not now. That happens a moment later.
Yeah.
They're doing what you're describing.
Exactly.
And
I anticipated this. Because, see, I obviously can't see the future. But if, like, let's say every time I walk through a particular door, I get smacked in the face, and I say to you, hey, just be careful going through that door. You might want to duck down a foot, and then you get smacked in the face. It's like, okay, that's what I was telling you about. Just duck down a foot when you're going under that.
Funny you say that. It's funny you use the same analogy. I was thinking the same thing before the show. And it's like, we joke about it. We've said it before. It's kind of like we're from the future. We report stuff before everybody else does. And then the rest of the news cycle catches up to the stuff we've been talking about. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. And what I'm excited to show, what I'm excited to show the patrons when we go to the patron-only portion of the show is that now we're starting to get more and more evidence from other people's phones.
Yeah.
And the more that we start to get, the more we're able to filter out what's nonsense and what's real.
Right.
And we're starting to find collaboration of some of the stuff on this kit. Again, like the horse. Right?
Corroboration or collaboration?
corroboration, meaning stuff like the lady on the horse. We see the lady on the horse with the flag in multiple
In a few
videos, right?
phones. Right.
That's not CGI, right? It was pretty safe. It's a lady on a horse, right? So it's stuff like that. So there's stuff in his video that we're going to be corroborating in other videos. And
that
so
is
that
what Dave's video is useful for. The fact that stuff happened, and then we go look for good evidence. See, what was bothering me is that a big deal is being made out of this kid by the primary social engineer that I observed trying to catch and kill you. And somebody just told me that Chris Martenson put out some kind of video or tweet or something where he's now saying, oh, he's been fed bunk information. I'm telling you, daily, these guys are looking at what we're doing just the way that Hawkins used to say. They're looking at what we're doing and they're adjusting what they are doing. So it was very suspicious to me. They know that you are going to go to these videos and try to calculate these crack thumps. And to me, that just makes it obvious to make some incredibly compelling piece of bait video that is shifted in some way that's going to screw up your investigation.
A perfect
but the good
example.
news is
Perfect example is the TMZ footage. That everybody thinks that's accurate.
That
it's
could
not.
be done with Steady Dave's footage to make you think something's happening when it isn't or is or what. But the point is, before we saw that stupid Unsteady Dave footage, your research said, well, wait a minute. We have this radius, and the only thing in that radius is the building. And then I said, that makes sense, because the way this type of espionage operation would work is you'd want the trajectory of your actual shooter to match the decoy shooter. Also, it makes a lot of sense to have an idiot running around for 26 minutes and everybody see him on the roof and then have that guy get killed, because it makes everybody think the only business was happening on the roof. We're not looking at Agent Sketchy inside the room with a sniper gun and what else. By the way, I'm not saying that because Chuck Grassley gave us a photo of a sniper rifle in a room that means that's the sniper rifle that was used. In fact, I would go as far as saying that is likely misdirection, because you were saying that subsonic ammunition would be used here, and that video of Rod Wheeler reminded me how the FBI likes to play around with subsonic and complicated things. And
that was years ago.
Think you're right. That was, but it reminded me of what they think about, and it would make sense because they know you're trying to do this. They want to thwart it. So what gun is not in this room? The thing that we need to do on the sponsor segment, I believe, is for you to examine these sniper guns and determine if they would make noise and what they were shooting and whatever. The other thing is these little things that people see flying around. We got a lot to talk about. We haven't even gotten to the full extent of the catch and kill, but everybody's getting the flavor of what I'm talking about. I see social engineers hopping and jumping to attack John Cullen. And the tension that people have been seeing is that there has been an understandable huge level of enthusiasm about this. And it's sometimes difficult to slow someone down and explain to them, hang on, they might be trying to give you a poison pill. So I'm glad that we're taking some time to investigate and examine this stuff. Dave could release his video. It doesn't even matter anymore. We have so much other evidence that there was someone in that room who wasn't supposed to be there. And guess what? We don't need to worry immediately to catch these people about what bullets went where. The Secret Service either knows who that guy is or they don't. And if they don't, we have a very, very serious problem. And if they do, I don't know if it's more or less serious. Before we go, the one last thing I want to show you, because you were mentioning this person, and I agree, it's very important. Agent Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah.
Where do I have Dirty Sanchez? There's another thing that's even more suspicious. So, okay, I was looking at the Secret Service, come hire me, the qualifications, and they are explicit. You are not allowed to have visible body art and no tattoos below the wrist. So this person appears to have a tattoo on their left hand. This is also decimated evidence. I would want higher quality and better image. I don't think this is a woman. I think this is Keenan Hooper with his beard shaved. The attached earlobes match Hooper. It would be a doppelganger for this guy. They do look pretty darn close in terms of the shape of their face. Obviously, Eric DeFelice has brown eyes. He told me, here's Hooper, he told me that this agent detained him. He wasn't arrested. He was handed over to local law enforcement who said there's nothing to arrest him for and to let him go. It's a very strange story. But why did this all happen? I don't know.
Can you compare the chest patch on Dirty Sanchez to the chest patch on Sketchy Guy inside the First Four? Can we look at those two images?
But let's do this, John, because we're way over time here. People who are enjoying this research, this debate, even when John and I disagree or argue, it's still fun. And friends can argue and disagree and then come to a conclusion where everything is fine. And I want people to join us right now, if you're able, on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen or patreon.com/JohnCullen/IamJohnCullen. Very important to sponsor John. This is a cooperative, collaborative effort. John doesn't work for me. I don't work for John. So please sponsor John on subscribestar.com or patreon.com/IamJohnCullen. And I'd love it as well if people would sponsor Crowdsource the Truth on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth.
And Odyssey is where people can find all your legacy stuff that goes back 6-7 years with the OG of Catch and Kill, the OG of the Limited Hangout, 6'8", head has its own gravity. You guys know who we're talking about.
Yes.
Jason has a legacy of video content that goes back to the Charleston port bombing.
Yeah.
Imran Awan's house. I mean, some of the craziest stuff you've ever seen is on his Odyssey channel. So if you're not subscribed to that, that's got some pretty wild stuff. So check that out.
Thank you for bringing that up, John. It's another point that you raised, that there are things that are happening in my life that aren't on YouTube that pertain to the characters that John just mentioned that also inform me that right now there is such an unbelievable amount of social engineering activity. It's really important for people to stay with us